So, hello my friends, and welcome back to the next video. Today is actually Monday, March 12th. It's been a couple days since I made the last video, and as you might notice, I'm talking into an actual microphone today. Exciting stuff. Um, and as you might guess, I got my interface in the mail on Saturday, so we're going to talk about that whenever we get there. But for now, we're going to go ahead and backtrack it to Thursday, March 8th. I had a full day of digital consoles. I had a lecture in a lab. It was a 5:15 p.m. to 1 a.m. that day. It was pretty good, and this was the first day that we started talking about the venue console. So it was a lot of new information, I suppose. Lots of talking about things that I had no idea about. So yeah, the other console aside from the SSL Matrix is the Venue SC48. And the SC48 stands for self-contained 48 channels. So, excuse me for a second. So yeah, it's a console by Digidesign or Avid, the Pro Tools people, and it's actually pretty cool. I would say it's pretty similar to the SSL or the Matrix in the sense that it is a digital console. But other than that, I mean, there are a lot of key differences. The biggest one being the fact that the Matrix is for like studio and controller surface kind of use, and the SC48 is definitely more for like live shows. I mean, it's one of the venue series, you know. So let's kind of look at or just talk about some of the things we went over. We talked about the venue family. The SC48 is like the smallest one. The console we're on right now, the venue, the 48, sorry, is it gets 24-bit. It's 48K. It has 48 mic inputs, but it only has 16 channel faders. It's got 16 XLR outputs, 8 stereo effects returns, 8 subgroups. They can either be stereo or mono. It's got 8 or 16 aux sends, 8 VCA masters, and 8 matrix outputs. So those are like the basics of the console, what it, I guess, kind of can and can't do. But really, it can do just about anything. It's pretty cool. It's got a bunch of XLR stuff in the back. The signal flow, basically, it's the same as the Matrix, where it goes digital first, analog second. So I guess that's kind of a way to look at it, but it's not really. Well, actually, scratch that. I have no idea what I just said. Forget what I just said. It actually doesn't really have an analog thing. I don't think. I mean, you gotta cut me some slack here. We're just starting on this thing. So yeah, we broke down the different sections. Like you have your channel encoders and your ACS, which stands for the assignable channel section. You have output encoders as well as channel faders and output faders. And there's a couple more sections other than those few, but those are the basic ones that we're starting with. It is a moving faders console, which is pretty cool. And let's see, what else? What else we got? There's software. So not only do you have to know how to use the buttons on the console, but there's also software you have to know how to use. That's also done by Digidesign or Avid, whichever one you call it, because it's pretty much the same. The patch bay is pretty damn cool. Basically, if you want to patch your channels, you can literally just click, and it's like a grid thing. Or you can just drag and drop straight down, so you can do a one-to-one patching sequence. It's pretty cool. So the digital patch bay for the win. Let's see, what else? You can do plugins with this console, which is also really cool. You can have your own like presets for the board. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the basics of the console that we discussed in lecture. So basically the summary of the board is, we should understand the system configurations, know how to load and save and transfer files for the console, know how to name stuff like tracks and different projects and stuff, know how the signal is routed throughout it, I'll also know how to make a stereo channel and know how to copy, paste, and move stuff, just basic functions. And I think the lab that I had that day, yeah, that was the last Matrix lab, which it was. I actually can't really remember what we did. It was like the advanced matrix functions. I might have the notes or the let me see, the lab manual. Yeah. So let's see. Matrix. I think that was the automation lab, I do believe. Yeah. So we did automation that day on the matrix, and it was pretty cool. So we had to learn how to do total recalls, which I already knew how to do recalls somehow. I'm not really sure why we had to like relearn that or something, but we had to do total recall. Let's see, then resume mixing or whatever, and then do some automation. So the automation stuff was interesting. We had to do like static passes and then automating sections. So like for write mode, you had to do a static pass. Basically, you press play and you literally tap all your faders, and it'll create a zero baseline for your automation data to refer to. And then from there, you can do whatever you want, like on the second pass or whatever. Touch mode and latch mode, those were pretty fun. I think touch mode was probably the coolest one because like you have your baseline zero read or whatever, and then like it's reading and you can change the data, and then you let go of the fader and it snaps back to the zero position. And latch mode just stays wherever you leave it. So we also had to, so that was like, we had to put automation on the DAW side, the DAW side of the whole system, and then we had to do automation for the analog side of the console, which was a bit more difficult than the DAW automation. So basically we had to make a bunch of MIDI tracks and then line up the MIDI tracks with the faders on the console, and then we could put automation data in the MIDI tracks, and as long as the analog faders were in ABS mode, they would read that MIDI data. So the faders wouldn't actually move while in the analog focus, but it would read the data. So it was kind of weird. And then there's trim mode. So we also had to demonstrate that we knew how to activate and use trim mode, which basically you have your like, you have your how to describe it. So there's your, you have your baseline. Let's say you got, a volume down over here. Well, trim mode basically keeps it to where, all your stuff is, all your how to say it, your automation nodes or whatever are the same, but they just move up and down. That was really, I made that sound harder than it was. But yeah, that's, I guess, trim mode. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it's pretty cool. And then I think after that it was it. So it was pretty slack lab, pretty easy lab. We had a new lab tech that night. His name was Brian, and Brian was really cool. He's only 24, and he's already like done so much stuff. I mean, and he was talking to us and just telling us stories and stuff, and it was pretty inspiring, no doubt, to know, well, hey, whatever it is that you're going for, it's definitely attainable. You know what I mean? Because this dude was like only, like I said, 24 years old, and he's already mixed some of the biggest shows, on this side of the planet, I guess. I mean, this guy has done a lot of stuff already, so it was pretty cool. Like, he doesn't even fit the requirements that you're supposed to have to be an instructor at Full Sail, but he's already done so much and built up such a resume that he got the job. So, I mean, the guy definitely knows his stuff. But yeah, I'd definitely say Thursday was a good day. Nothing really crazy went on. So I guess for now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video. I'm actually going to talk about how I'm doing the new videos now that I got my interface in some of the next videos. So thanks for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. Hope the audio sounds a lot better. It should, because I know that my 58 is hella way better than the crappy computer microphone. So until next time, you take it easy, and I'll see you guys then.